Hey, 8th graders, Mrs. Hollenbeck here in my very dusty bedroom. My husband hacked to pieces our bathroom shower, so there's this nice layer of dust everywhere. So if I start coughing profusely, you'll understand why. I'm on page 11 through it's 11 through 14, and don't forget 14. A few of you have forgotten to do the 21 through 30. That's on page 14 here. Don't forget it. This I know we have Red Day on Friday. It's like our Monday that we missed, but we still have to work in a vocab there. So there you have it. Maybe try to take care of it in the morning or something. Okay. Epithet is our first word, and it's a noun. And the people who are going to be working on the Spoon River Anthology, what Edgar Lee Masters did, he went around in a church graveyard, Spoon River, and looked at all the epitaphs that were on the tombstones. These are little descriptions of who is buried there. So when on the commercial, when it says, what do you want on your tombstone? It's like, what do you want for an epitaph? What sort of brief little description do you want said of you? Alright, so on tombstones is where we're most apt to find epitaphs, but they can be other places as well. Epitaph, it's a noun. The next word, evasive, it's an adjective. And when you think of evasive maneuvers, if you think video games, military, whatever, in those arenas, or even in a PE game, if you're playing keep away, you try some evasive maneuvers. You try to evade, you try to stay away from the opponent and try not to get caught. So evasive maneuvers are so you don't get caught. Okay? So you're avoiding the opponent. Okay? If you don't have an assignment done, you might try some evasive maneuvers on me, trying to get away from me, trying to avoid contact in the hall, whatever. Evoke is a verb. And evoke, this is it means to try to bring forth, call forth, call out. If somebody tries to evoke, for instance, the thing that immediately popped into my mind was when King Saul called upon, he evoked this witch, or she evoked some ghosts. All right, the witch of Endor, I think her name was, she was, and she evokes these ghosts. She calls them forth. All right, these evil are these spirits, and so that's at the end, I believe, of 1 Samuel, beginning of 2 Samuel. Yeah, so evoke means calling forth. All right. Sometimes, like a movie might evoke a happy emotions out of you, happy feeling. Okay, it's to bring forth. All right, and that's a verb. Foreshadow is also a verb. And we defined this last year in short story. If you remember our first story, Rikki Tikki Tavi, and the dad said, right at the beginning of the story, I mean, it's the first night that Rikki Tikki has been there. if a snake were to come into his house or his room or something, and that's a foreshadow, it's a hint to what's going to come. Okay, we talk about communion being a foreshadow of the feast to come. All right, it's gives a hint of the feast that's to come in heaven. Okay, our grand celebration, our wedding feast. The next word, infer. Infer is a verb. A lot of verbs this time. Infer is to draw a conclusion. Based on the evidence that you have been given, draw a conclusion. So, I say this in literature all the time. Based on this, what could we infer? All right, or what's an inference we can draw based on the evidence? All right, so it's based on some evidence. What conclusions can be drawn? That's infer. Laudable is an adjective. We take off the able, the adjective ending. Laud is the noun form, and laud is praise. So laudable is praiseworthy. Anything that's worthy of praiseworthy, to be honored. Okay, if a person saves a small child from a building, a fireman, burning building, fireman does this, his actions are laudable. Okay, they're worthy of honor. Lucid. Lucid is an adjective. The noun form, we had ity, lucidity. Okay, but lucid is an adjective. And on specific holidays, policemen are out in force checking to see whether drivers are lucid, whether their speech or their eyes are lucid. All right, they're checking to see if they're drunk or not. And so lucid doesn't mean sober, but it means clear. All right, the eyes are clear, they're not bloodshot. The speech is clear, they're speaking intelligibly, clearly. Okay, they're lucid. They're making sense. They're logical. They're clear. Okay, in their presentation, in their speech, and their eyes are not glazed over or whatever. Okay, that's what lucid means. Perpetuate. Perpetuate is a verb. Okay, and if you perpetuate an action, that means you keep it going. So if you perpetuate a rumor, that means you continue to pass it on. Okay? The adjective form is perpetual. You know those perpetual motion machines or little devices you could have on the table with the little balls that continue to whack each other, the perpetual motion. Perpetuate means to continue that action, to make something continue on. Okay. Scrutinize is a verb. And scrutinize means to look carefully and criticize. Now, criticize isn't necessarily a bad thing. For a critic, they're looking at good and bad things, but it's all part of their criticism. So scrutinize is looking very carefully at something to find out good and bad things about it. Okay? So scrutinize, looking very closely. All right? And then symposium. A symposium is a noun, and a symposium is like a meeting of like-minded people about a certain topic, and a very specific topic. Like you might have a symposium on romantic poets in southern Italy in the late 1500s. Very specific information, and people who want to discuss that would get together and meet and discuss that topic. That's a symposium. Okay, very specific. Okay, those are your 10 words, and let me turn to page 127. You should do that and get out your cheat sheet. And our first one, brevity is a noun, shortness is a noun. Brevity, that comes from the adjective brief. Brevity is just the noun form, shortness. Okay. Number 2, connotation is a noun, suggest is a verb. We have a noun and a verb. Okay, you have 2 choices. Okay. Number 3, embellish is a verb, simplify is a verb. I tend to embellish stories. I add a lot of details, a lot of side stories. Is that simplifying a story? Number 4, epithet. Epithet is a noun and describe is a verb. Very similar to number 2. Okay. 5, evoke and summon are both verbs. Okay, so 3 choices, synonym, antonym, or degree. Number 6, foreshadow is a noun, anticipation is a noun. The foreshadow in Rikki Tikki Tavi served to enhance the anticipation of Nag and Nagaina's entrance. See if that sentence helps you figure it out. Number 7, imbibe is a verb. Beverage is a noun. Imbibe is a verb. Beverage is a noun. And it's an object noun. Okay. Number 8, laudable is an adjective. Virtue is a noun. Adjective, noun can only be one thing. Number 9, nostalgic, adjective. Daydreamer, noun, could only be one thing. And number 10, reiterate is a verb. Repeat is a verb. Let me reiterate that. Reiterate is a verb. Repeat is a verb. I hope you got that hint. Okay. It's due by Friday. All right. Kind of has to be that way. So we could get as many lessons done before we start our Word Master. So, anyway, we'll talk to you soon.